XRP holders, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. Happy Wednesday wherever you are around the world. It was a big day today. Of course, we were going to hear about a potential rate cut from the FOMC meeting from Jerome Powell, but we didn't really hear exactly that. But as far as the market is concerned, the market is reacting in an interesting way, which of course we're going to be discussing. Let's talk about XRP, understand what's really happening with the price, and of course what is yet to come. Looking at the price of XRP here, $2.13. It is seeing a little bit of retracement, but if you're looking at the broader market, you're starting to see coins going back into the green. So what's really happening? We're going to discuss that. But if you're looking at XRP, seeing a little bit of a minor pullback, nothing crazy, down about 1.7% in Bitcoin comparative with the price at $2.13. Valuation just below 125 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at about $3.5 billion. Before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. Here we have it. The Federal Reserve has decided to leave interest rates unchanged. A lot of people are not happy about this. A lot of people are ticked off. What's going on? When in the world are we going to see a rate cut? People always make the comparison between Canada and the US. And obviously, people that are in the US that are looking at Canada, because, Canada has seen several different rate cuts. To all the Canadians out there, I'm sure you guys can kind of relate on that. And obviously, people are like, why is this not happening in the US? Because of course, you don't understand how big of a deal it is. We haven't really seen a rate cut for such a long time, and a rate cut is so bullish. You do tend to see markets reacting in a positive way, but and being not changed kind of gives you once again a better understanding as to how the current economy is looking, how there's still uncertainty as far as the trade war is concerned. Obviously there's no complete conclusion as of now. Obviously there is a pause, but in a grand scheme of things, there still needs to be other things that need to be done. So there's that. Market reacted in a specific way, which of course I'm going to share my personal thoughts on, but let's go over this first. Global Tokenized Real Estate Market Guide. You can see this for yourself. For purpose of valuation, collateralized back office savings and users experience, we may see large firms like Movens commit to such an act, or more likely begin using tokenization for all new financial offerings while letting the legacy infrastructure run its course. This is the scenario thousands of real estate developers and asset managers are now faced with today. Similar to non-real estate fund asset classes, tokenization is too inevitable. Trillions of capital lies dormant under the control of banks and private lenders with no alternatives. Consumers will demand reduced rates, improve user experience, and expand financial services for their homes. Once tokenization is accepted standard for real estate administration, the sky becomes the provocable limit, and even there we will see air rights to tokenization. The provable gold rush to tokenize hundreds of trillions of real estate will no longer be a myth, and it won't be long before the asset class sees adoption from large incumbents. All signs suggest that it will happen slowly and then all at once. All signs indicate that this will happen slowly and all at once, and I do personally believe that is true, because if we're seeing what's happening as far as tokenization is concerned, if you kind of take a look at it for the last 10 years, you would see tokenization was nowhere near as to where it is now. I wouldn't even say the last 10 years. I would actually use the last 3 years as a perfect example. And what has already happened is quite an important thing to be noting. And what is coming, I think, is not a lot of people realizing it. This is where XRP Ledger shines, in my opinion. And remember that first stop shop aspect that I've shared with you guys. Look at this. Richie Torres in New York has introduced a bill that would prevent federal officials and their immediate family members from profiting off of meme coins and stable coins. We know about this. We remember, the Trump coin that launched, the Millennia coin. A lot of questions, started arising, and also, some big famous people started launching their own coins. Doesn't really say anything about famous people, only federal officials and their family members. Is this going to happen with famous people now next? But yeah, we know what happened with the Trump coin. We know what happened with Millennia coin. People are not happy about that because some people made multi millions. Obviously, some people are also, saying that, people that are in their inner circle also made a lot of money. And that is, where this act comes into play. Let me know your personal thoughts down below regarding this. But look at this. XRP, every time volatility dropped and band squeezed, an explosive move followed. And look at this, Treasury Secretary Bessent says, we believe the U.S. should be the premier destination for digital assets. And, that's happening. Trump wants that to happen. Of course, he's been quite clear on that. And really gives you an understanding where digital assets are going. But let's take a look at what's happening. Market has pumped up while there's no rate cut. What's really going on? Remember, usually when you do tend to expect the market to react in a negative way, if that's the broader market sentiment, you will see the whales coming in and doing the complete opposite. And I think that has happened. But a lot of people are going to come out and say, well, you were saying the rate cut will cause if there's no rate cut, the price could retrace. What if I told you that has already happened? If you take a look at the start of the week, how the market reacted, it was the week of the FOMC meeting. Market reacted before the meeting itself. If you're looking at BTC today, specifically, obviously, first and foremost, let's take a look at where the dominance is. Like I said, I missed an update yesterday. Dominance went up to 65.5% for the first time since 2021. Again, it's rising. It's rising like at record levels. And of course, it's not showing any signs of slowing down. But if you're looking at it on an hourly perspective for the BTC price, let's actually take a look at that. Bitcoin, and let's go on the hourly. You can see this for yourself. BTC did push back up. We're pushing back above 97K, and again, if we're able to see the daily candle close up around here, we actually could pop out towards 100K Bitcoin this week. That would be a really, really bullish indication. Obviously, in terms of altcoins, they're still going to lag in a grand scheme of things against BTC as far as XRP is concerned. It is kind of seeing a little bit of a lag. We did retest right at the neckline of the 38 pointer, which I spoke to you guys about, and it has bounced since then. So again, now you guys know the importance of that range. We're still in this accumulation pattern. Yes, we have not seen the explosive moves, but we cannot ignore the dominance, as I state to you guys 100 times. Let me know down below what you guys think. What are you guys doing right now? Love each and every one of you guys. We'll see you later. But it's Crypto ZX, and peace out.